on the ones that I think,
Okay.
because I have the same
Which
agreement. Okay, well, we're in week 12 of the NFL regular season, Jackie, and things are starting to emerge now. We've seen the divisional team starting to clarify itself, and I got to ask you a question.
Yeah.
So, from what you've seen so far this year and where the records are, what divisional leaders do you have the most confidence in to finish at the top by the end of the season?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Fair. I mean, to me, I think it's fairly obvious, Vince. The records don't lie. This time of season, if you're winning football games, that means you're doing things right. And most teams have gotten over the out of training camp. I'm not in great football shape to playing their very best football physically right now. We see that with the backers dropping and running and getting after the quarterback. We see all of the refined skills of just about every position, coming to the surface right now. So guys are all playing their best individual football. But as the team, the teams that jump out at me are the teams that are consistently winning, and obviously they have the best records. So Kansas City at 8-3, I see them finishing strong. Jacksonville at 8-3, I see finishing strong, even though they might get some challenge from the Texans as we go along. And the same with Miami and Baltimore. Now, in the NFC, Philadelphia, the San Francisco 49ers, and I think the Rams are coming. And I like Jared Goff and what they're doing in Detroit.
Do you think they're playoff contenders?
I think the Rams are coming. I think they're playing some of the best football right now that they've played all year long, and what they were doing earlier wasn't that bad. Okay. So those are the teams that I look at in the AFC and the NFC that I think are solid teams, playing well, good coaching, good schemes, good mixture of run, pass, and those teams are going to be hard to beat.
I think moving forward, they're going to be tough teams. I agree. The 49ers, I think the Philadelphia Eagles. The other team that's really good, too, Dallas, but Dallas is with Philadelphia, so they'll both be in the playoffs, in my mind. And then in the AFC, I think that the Chiefs are still clear-cut favorites in the West. And, you gotta like what Jacksonville's doing.
And you got to like what Denver's doing, too. They're coming on. It's 5 in a row.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be a spoiler. I think they're going to be emerging as maybe a playoff contending team. Who knows?
That AFC West is starting to tighten up a little bit.
Okay, let me ask you a question. What teams do you think are that you have the least confidence in to be at the top of the list right now?
Well, I looked at Atlanta. Yeah. At one point in time, I was extremely excited about them.
Well, that's probably because of the NFC South. They're all weaker teams.
Yeah, but they invested in their offensive line, and when you see those kind of investments, you expect big time production. They just simply haven't been able to get it. Minnesota, they're playing here against the Bears tonight, battling it out. And a lot of people say, well, their season fell off because they lost that great, talented young receiver of theirs. Justin Jefferson. He still hasn't played since he pulled that ham. But I don't know that one player can make that big of a difference. Mm-hmm. So I'm a little bit concerned about them. I'm not concerned about the Dallas Cowboys, even though they are not – they got an 8-3 record, and people
they'll be in the playoffs.
Huh?
They'll be in the playoffs.
I think so.
They're too good of a team.
I think so. The other team that a little bit concerning right now is the Cleveland Browns, and that's primarily because of Myles Garrett's injury. He felt something pop in his shoulder, and he's the leader of the number one defense in the league, so that concerns me. The loss of him.
I have to probably agree. I think at the bottom of the list probably are the Falcons, but as you mentioned, they do have a strong running attack. And I really like the way Robinson's been playing. I mean, he's really up for Rookie of the Year. He's having a great season. Detroit is a little questionable at this time. They didn't play well on Thanksgiving Day against Green Bay at home. And so, their work's still cut out for them. They're not a shoo-in at this point because Minnesota's coming on. So I would have a question mark there. In Miami, I don't know. I think Buffalo could emerge because Buffalo's starting to play better. Even though they lost last week, I think they may still have a shot. So I'm not totally, guaranteeing that Miami's going to be in the playoffs. So that's the way I see it.
One team that I think we didn't mention, and I don't think either one of us were surprised by it, but because of the injury to Joey Burrow, Cincinnati they're just flat. They're out. I don't see them, even approaching the playoffs.
The two disappointing teams, I think, have to say Cincinnati because the way they started the season, Joey wasn't 100%.
Right.
And then the Chargers. I mean, the Chargers were expected to play lights out football this year, and they really did not play up to their expectations.
Right.
And I don't know if it was their defense, if it was their chemistry that they had on the team, was the coaching influence. What happened there, Jackie? They just didn't play with the heart and soul that you need to do to play a great team winning football.
Especially as they were expected to this season.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Well, we have another real interesting fact here, Jackie. We've been talking about injuries in the NFL. And, and each 4 years or 8 years, the NFL collective bargains with the ownership. They go in and they negotiate different rules and different aspects of what they need to improve their and what's best for them. Okay, and the players are looking at now possibly striking over the artificial turf and what the artificial turf has brought. Let's look at some of the injuries that that is presented here. The Dolphins defensive end Jalen Phillips suffered a non-contact Achilles injury at MetLife Stadium. MetLife Stadium's had a lot of injuries.
A lot of injuries.
Okay, it's been considered one of the worst playing services in the league. Okay, we've said that.
That's
Aaron
MetLife.
Rodgers.
That's MetLife,
that's
not
MetLife.
SoFi.
Yeah, that's MetLife. There's been injuries at SoFi too. But
yes.
Okay, here's another one. How about Aaron Rodgers? Okay, at New York. Okay, he suffered an Achilles tear, only the fourth play of the game.
Right.
All right, that was another one. Nick Bosa and Solomon Thomas both suffered torn ACLs in the game where the 49ers played in 2020. Jimmy Garoppolo also suffered a sprained ankle in the game. And Raheem Mostert went with a torn ACL. Okay, all these injuries.
These are serious,
occurred,
major injuries. Season-ending injuries is what these are.
And they occurred on artificial turf. Okay, artificial turf versus grass has been an issue for a long time in the NFL. Has it reached a point where it's a strikeable issue?
Well, Vince, everything has to be collectively bargained. That's what we've concluded.
Yes.
I can see an argument for not changing the turf, as well as I can see the argument for changing the turf. It is not. I can tell you, Vince, that when I played on AstroTurf, I was a lot more beat up after the games, and it was primarily because the traction was better. So I was getting my feet in the ground, driving into guys, they were driving into me, and the contact was pretty severe. And so I always played better and quicker and faster on artificial turf. But I was always a lot more beat up.
Right.
On the other hand, when I played on grass, I didn't get quite as beat up, but I was a little bit, I wasn't quite as efficient. I had some slippage where the grass would come out from my feet.
But everybody had the same.
Yeah, the same thing.
We're under the same.
But when I look at the wear and tear on my body, it was a whole lot more damaging playing on AstroTurf than it was on grass. But I actually preferred the AstroTurf because my footing was better.
Well, Jackie, in your body and connective tissue, there's elasticity. Okay, and that stress that you incur when you're on an artificial turf, there's not much give to those joint and pulls and turns and twists. Okay, so that elasticity is not stretchable. Okay, so you can snap something there. On grass, there's a little more give to it, so it allows your body to accommodate that a little bit of elastic nature of your joints and muscles.
Right.
Okay, so I think that has something to do with it. And health and safety is paramount with a lot of players today.
Right.
And they're trying to make rule changes so that guys don't get hurt. But I think the underlying theme moving forward should be, let's address the issue of natural grass. You'll have less injuries.
Yeah, I think that's the general consensus, but there's always going to be a handful of people like me who felt like I was playing my best football when I had the best footing, and so. Yeah. But I think those things will get themselves worked out, and certainly, every year we end up talking about this just about at the midway point, because people are that first half of the season, particularly out of training camp now, are grinding, trying to get in shape.
Yes.
And that's where most of the injuries are occurring early in the season, as these guys go out and use these explosive moves and end up getting hurt. So this conversation is not going to go away. It's just going to be fun to see how the NFL and the Players Association go about solving it.
Well, only time will tell on that, Jackie.
Right.
And we hope that they can they have a cure-all for that because injuries have been paramount this year, and they've hurt a lot of teams moving forward, and we don't really want to see our star players injured and sidelined
Right.
when we pay a lot of money to go out and watch them play and perform.
Right.
Well, that'll do it for us tonight. We had a great time here at Jimmy E's Barn and Grill Restaurant here in Long Beach, so we'll be back with you next week. So don't miss another issue of On Point Live with Vince and Jackie. So until next time, Jackie,
Stay on point.